Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Live Coffee Talk. I'm Michelle Quay. Those of you who are new to me and to this group, welcome to the group. I am a visibility confidence coach and I help women coaches to tell a better stories so that they can get seen, get heard, and get hired. So if you are here in the group with me, welcome and welcome to the Live Coffee Talk. This is a live stream show where I stream every Wednesday now at 11 o'clock, and I invite guests who is going to help you navigate through this coaching journey and help you grow in your business. Today, super excited. I have Dr. Victoria Boyd here with me, and she's waiting patiently in the backstage. Let me just give you a little quick introduction about who she is. Dr. Victoria Boyd is a living example of her passion by helping others reaching their full potential. She is an educator for the last 28 years, a leader in numerous nonprofit organizations on local, regional, and national levels. And Dr. Boyd has authored 4 books and numerous articles published in several journals and magazines. She has also been a ghostwriter and editor for several other authors, and she has been a podcast and show host and love to share her expertise today with you on her webinar secret. So if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome to the show and grab your seat, grab your chair, grab your coffee or lunch right now. And that's join me with a warm welcome, Victoria Boyd.
And good welcome to everyone out there in what I call the internet highway. So excited to be with you today, Michelle. I think we have some real gems to share.
I am so excited to have you here because one of the things that I sometimes struggle is having hosting. How do I host a good webinar? And when I reach out to you, I was like looking at your bio, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is my lady. This is the woman I need to connect. This is the woman I need to speak to. Because I think, nowadays, given 2020, we all experience that shift where a lot of our live event is no longer there, or we're actually downsizing and minimizing the live event because of the COVID happening. So with your expertise and your past experience as a lead trainers and authors and educator, I know you have so much to offer to this audience. So tell us about yourself. Like, how did you get into the career and who you are, where you are?
Absolutely. I have gone through what I call evolution. I first started out teaching dance in the high school level. I taught dance specifically for 28 years. I've actually been teaching and in the education sector for over 40. Um, but I taught dance in a performing arts high school and then became the state arts consultant or education consultant where I developed teacher training. I was an executive producer for Educational Television Network, did teacher standards and things like that. Finally, I actually retired out of that career. I moved to Las Vegas, and it was a whole journey of me starting over. And I totally embraced what is my passion. And everything kept leading me back to you've got to be a trainer. You've still got to educate other people and help them reach their full potential with some of the background expertise and strategies that I have. So my first book was The Wealthy Teacher. And
Hmm.
the question, what's next? And that was my journey into uh, training and becoming an entrepreneur.
Mhm. I admire you for all the courage that you have because shifting from one career to another, that takes a lot of courage because it takes us to stand up and say, you know what, this is no longer true for me. I'm gonna move on to my next career, right? And then moving from one state to another state, that's another whole new level because just the idea of packing my stuff and moving that like really create a lot of resistance. I would say no to it.
Well, I mean, just to give a little perspective, by moving to a new state, it really put in my mind that I was starting new and that I could pick and choose any career that I wanted to. And so it put me in a mindset of what is going to be next for me. I don't have to be settled or stay in where I was, I can expand and explore and look at all the possibilities that are out there for me. And so it gave me a push. It pushed me into, it took me out of my comfort zone. Loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that really caught my attention is that the fact that you are a lead trainer and you do webinar summit. And I think, moving into 2022, we have about 3 months away from 2022. And I don't believe a lot of coaches realize that, virtual world is here to stay. Like
It's
the virtual setting is here to stay. It's not going to go away. It's, if anything, a lot of people take Tony Robbins, for example. Everybody loves Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins actually had this whole studio set up to do virtual summit. So summit is so big, and these webinar is becoming like a they call it the sprout that you see outside, right? So you give it some water, it's gonna spring, it's gonna grow. So tell us more about your webinar secret. What is it about webinar secret?
absolutely. I believed in webinars and the whole virtual landscape for conferences before the pandemic hit. Back in 2019, I actually reached out and was trying to put together a virtual conference. And I was getting a lot of resistance because many entrepreneurs told me, well, that's not my model. Our business doesn't work that way. We can't do anything virtually. 2020 came around. Guess who was asking me, well, how do I transition that? But also as an educator and teacher and always looking for new strategies, I was taking a lot of webinars myself just to improve some of my skills. And one of the common threads that I kept seeing was how bad the educational content delivery was. And that was the catalyst and motivation for me to write the book Webinar Secrets. Remember, my background is education, and so I know how to put a curriculum together and present it from instructional technology design perspective. And so I wrote Webinar Secrets. It was published July 1st of 2020. So, it was just a couple months, well, 4 months into the pandemic. And with that, I also am president and founder of the Philanthropreneur Foundation. And we were shifting to a virtual platform. And one of our big new projects was Systems Summits, which we launched October of 2020. So we're getting ready to hit that 1 year mark. So Webinar Secrets really helps coaches, speakers, independent business owners, the small solopreneurs understand the value of webinars, how
Mhm.
it adds credibility to their brand, but it walks them through the process of how to really create one that educates, energizes, and engages the audience. And so I'm real happy that we use that format in System Summit.
I love it. I love it. I think, for me, having that engagement is really huge, right? Because when you have, hundreds, if not thousands of people sitting in a webinar, and all we do is just being standing on the stage or talking or virtual stage, talking to people, but when there's no engagement, it doesn't make it fun. And people didn't pay us to just there to deliver a message and just call it a day.
Even
So
though, yeah, right now we're doing this talking head type format, you can't rely on that if you're doing a webinar. Adults stop listening to you if it's just a talking head after 3 minutes. And so to even keep them engaged 17 minutes, you need to have visuals, slides changing, telling them to do stuff, telling them to write down things. And so all of that is included in the step by step process of how you put together a presentation.
mm. So I know a lot of coaches, especially in my group, in my audience, they're putting out educational material. They're putting out educational webinar. So what are some of the tips that you might be able to share with them to help them to engage their audience a little better?
Okay, one of the biggest mistakes, and saw one literally day before yesterday. Here's a professional saying, had way too much stuff on a slide. Okay, think of the 4x4 rule: 4 bullet points, 4 words in a sentence. And that's you can't stick to it all the time, but you don't want to use full sentences, and you want to try and keep each slide to maybe 4 bullet points. Often I don't even use bullet points. I will use images so that it's embedded in their mind. It's a visual stimulation. Then added with the auditory background that I'm giving with the instruction, I've now hit three of their multiple intelligences, and everyone absorbs information in at least three different ways. And we all, I'm kinesthetic and visual. If you notice, I'm moving a lot, I'm dancing through this whole interview, but that's how I learn. I need to be moving because that tactile action embeds it in my mind. So you want to think about how do your learners or your audience learn? Auditory, visual, tactile.
So beautiful. I'm like thinking back, what mistakes have I made by hosting my own webinar? How many full sentences was appearing on my slide? And I think initially that's a big challenge. That's a big struggle. And unless we actually have a system to apply, we may not realize that there's something called 4x4 rule, right? Four bullets, four words.
Well, we think that we have to put all of the information there, but that's what handouts are for. And guess what? A handout puts your information in there physically in their hand and in their computer. So that's just another strategy of now you're building your audience, you're building your database, you're engaging them because now they have something they can go back to after the webinar is over.
Mhm.
These are just little tips and tricks I use.
See, people don't know about it. You probably have done it like for the last 20 something years, but like people who are new, they have no idea that this is a trick that you can do. And if I may add to that, you can probably create a landing page where you can capture people's lead when they download your workout, when they download your
Absolutely. Like
your
if they
your
want to
paper.
find webinar secrets, it's http dash webinar secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, webinar secrets, and it's written all the way out. .now.site because I use a landing page tool to send people to. Love it. I have over 15 landing pages over there for specific things because specific landing pages, and you should use them in your webinar to direct people to, should only have one topic on it. Because if you have more than one topic on a landing page, you've just defeated the purpose of a landing page.
Perfect. We have someone in the audience say, "I just did the same thing." I think what she meant is she did this. She put down all these information on the slide, and it's very common. Like as coaches, I know we're tons of information that we want to share, we want to give out, but we're not giving people an opportunity to break it down into a bite size.
Yeah, and think about this. Okay, so even if you're using PowerPoint and you put it into a document that is in the handout format where it has those little lines next to the slide, and you only have four bullet points, and you introduce it, people have to write notes. They have to take notes on what that bullet point means. You have just added the kinesthetic element. You've just increased the depth of their learning because they are now writing. And we all say, I got to write that down or I won't remember it. It's a tool that you use, and it's definitely instructional design strategy.
So what would be the magical length of a webinar? Like what would be the magical duration of what
Okay,
webinar should be?
I have two positions on that. In our summits, we ask them to be 20 minutes because when you have a whole string of different presentations, 20 minutes is about the length that somebody's going to watch. Also, research has proven that adults will watch something for 17 minutes before their mind starts going. Now, if you're doing a real, what I call intensive instructional design, I don't let anything, I even use the number 57 minutes. And the reason I say that, seven to me is a power number. But whenever you say, oh, it's only an hour long, me, I'm going to say, oh, that's too long. Because you put the moniker hour on there. I don't have an hour. So always use minutes, even if you go a little bit over. But I would try to keep everything under 60 minutes. And if you know that you can't do that content in 60 minutes, break it into two parts. Part one, make it 37 minutes. Part two, 35 minutes. Because people will absorb and say, oh, I can do that. Even if they think I can do it on my lunch hour. Oh, yeah, 30 minutes. Oh, yeah, I can do that on my lunch hour and then watch the other one at a different time. So I have an 8 hour training. There's 8 modules. None of them are over 57 minutes. Everything's broken down into little bite-sized chunks so people get those one or two important concepts and then are open to receive more information.
Mm. I think in the information overload era, nobody wants to stay on. And I even the well-known TED Talk had cut out their time from 20 minutes to 12 minutes to 17 minutes, and that's the amount of time that you get when you're on the stage.
Hey, 17 minutes. Didn't I just say research
Uh,
adult stop paying attention? And it's because of the phone. We're so used to instant information, the way we scroll and use our phones. We want emails. Most emails well, texts are open within 2 to 3 seconds. Emails are generally open within an hour of going into the inbox. Wow, super fast.
yeah. What would be your trick to capture people within that first 3 minutes?
That first 3 minutes, don't talk about yourself. That is the key. I even in the instructions I give my presentation to my speakers for System Summit, I tell them don't make anything about you, your intro of who you are, your bio more than 45 seconds. Try to keep it at 30 seconds. I even say I don't even put my intro at the beginning. I say here's what your challenge is, and here's what you're going to learn. That's what I start with. And then further down, after I get in there, in fact, on one of my jokes, I said, oh, I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dr. Boyd, and I'm going to be your facilitator today. I guess you can pretty well figure that out. But I don't make me as the headliner or the most important part. It's what challenge do you have? And here's how I'm going to solve it. That's how you should start it because that's what they want. They want you to solve a problem for them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very important. So again, I'm thinking back how many mistakes I have made already.
Don't call them mistakes. Just say it's your learning journey, and you had to start somewhere in creating content. So now you're going to tweak it and improve it. I call it TQM, Total Quality Management, where you're constantly improving. So now you're going to take that rich content and really tweak it to make it adult. It's so that it's just going to electrify your audience. There you go.
Oh, so beautiful. So ladies, I invited Victoria to the show because not for you guys, but for me. No, that's not true because this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. And because I loved having video, I love doing video. Video is a great way for people to get to know us. They see our personality and instead of reading. So, what is your secrets in bringing the energy onto the camera? Like, you're a great speaker. So, how do you bring the energy onto the camera?
Well, you have to look at my background. I said I taught for 28 years. I didn't mention I taught dance for 28 years, or maybe I did. But I was in a performing arts high school. I've always been on stage. I've always been comfortable being that speaker, getting in front of classrooms, getting in front of parents. And that evolved because then I became president, executive directors of many nonprofits. So that was also in a role of leadership and talking to people. I'm never short on words, and maybe that's a flaw, but um, I'm just comfortable in the skin I am in terms of presenting. And I know everybody is not comfortable in terms of being on camera or being in front of people. But just remember, you are an expert in your area. And what you're doing is sharing knowledge. You're helping someone else. Forget about all of your insecurities. Just think about the expertise, all that knowledge and let that be the platform that you're standing on, and everything will become easier. Share your knowledge.
Beautiful, beautifully said. I think I think back the first time I did webinar, and I was trying to be perfect. I had a beautiful script, I was reading, and I had my camera set up. It was the worst. It was the worst video that I have
Because
ever
you
done.
have to plan it out. I don't when because like I mentioned that I was a show host and when I first started out, I was writing scripts. I would throw myself off because I would get off script because that's how what I do. I just get off script, and so it was throwing me off. And so my producer finally said, "Will you stop writing scripts?" And that's how that whole bullet point thing. I even use visualization. Like if I'm going to talk about myself, I just draw an eye, a little eye, you know, on the page as a picture, an image. But I use one or two bullet points. I knew about the guest, and I infuse it with multiple questions. They know their topic. I don't need to talk about it. Just invite them to talk about it. And so everything became authentic. It flows, it's natural, and you want those mistakes. When I'm recording, because I used to stop and say, oh, I start all over. Now I go, you know what? I didn't mean that. I just I just acknowledge the mistake, fix it, and keep on going. And it makes your presentation authentic and genuine. And you become a person, you become real. And people would say, wow, I like her. She's just down to earth and natural.
Ladies, you didn't hear that from me. You heard it from Dr. Victoria Boy. Throw away your script. Throw away your script.
Use that same 4x4 concept. Four
Yeah.
bullet point, 4 words in the sentence.
Tell me more about the Assistant Summit. You have the logo in the back. Yeah, please tell me about Assistant Summit.
I am so excited. We're like I said, we're reaching. This is our 1 year anniversary. It's October 27th and 28th. It is a 2 day summit for coaches, speakers, solopreneurs, independent business owners, those small entities that generally don't have more than uh, generally it's one person, but maybe not more than 5 people running the whole business. But we
Mhm.
provide tips, strategies, presentations, insight on systems and processes to run an organization. Our theme is how businesses can tap into the holiday spending frenzy or shopping frenzy. And how we're doing that is because many times businesses at this time, oh, everybody's thinking about the holidays, they don't want to shop. No, you can bundle, package, even tap into some of the community events because I'm in the nonprofit sector. I want businesses to tap into Giving Tuesday. How can you tie your brand into that? How can you use cause marketing to sell products, to really bundle? But you want to think about people are going to buy stuff, and how are you positioning your company to be a part of that shopping frenzy? Now, there are some of the standard things you need. How are you going to create databases and all of those things? So we will give you that. We have 12 speakers, and once again, we are not trying to overload you. We're trying to take you in depth with knowledge. We have 18 sessions. On both days, we open up with System Summit Live broadcast that will come across in StreamYard. And then that's every day at 8:30, both days. Then at 1:30, we do a speaker office hours where our speakers for that day are live in their office in our open format. All of our presentations are pre-recorded, so you can come and watch them, but you got to be there live for the speaker office hours. It's free to register. You get 48-hour access. You can't miss system summits because no matter which presentation you watch, you're going to get some little nugget that you want.
Mhm.
Registration opens September 27th, 5 days away. I'm going crazy.
Yay!
I
So
correct it
excited.
time. Early bird registration, and we call it early bird because there is an opportunity to upgrade to get the all access pass, which is a lifetime access to all of the presentation plus a phenomenal list of bonuses that the speakers have contributed. We are a nonprofit. So Entrepreneur Foundation is a 501c3. So you are supporting our efforts to educate nonprofits and entrepreneurs in giving back to community. So that is System Summits. You can go to systemsummits.com, get all the information now. Just know that registration opens in 5 days. That's September 27th, and the event is October 27th. 30-day window to do pre-registration.
Yay, I'm super excited because this is something that we had talked about when we were first connecting, and you told me about the System Summit. And I remember I was asking the question about system because I think a lot of coaches are focusing on their mindset, right? So how important is it to have a system?
Your business will fail if you do not have systems. In fact, I just wrote 3 blogs, or at least one of them, that talks about systems and processes. Go to Philantrepreneur Foundation. I know it's hard to spell, but I'll drop it into the Facebook group, philanthropreneurfoundation.org, and look at the blog session, and you'll see a title that says, Don't Get a Flat Tire. Systems and processes are the key. And it's a full blog that explains the vital role that systems. Okay, imagine a wagon wheel. Okay, you have the axle or the hub, that center part. You have all these spokes that lead into it, and then you have the outside rim. Your business is the hub. That's that small axle that's down in the middle. But the rim, those are all of the systems that's holding it all together. And then all of the spokes that equalize it and balance it out, those are your processes. If any of the spokes are missing, you're going to get a bumpy ride. If you don't have those systems on the outside, you're not going to go anywhere. So just visualize that wagon wheel of what your business should look like. And if you go to that blog, you will see the wagon wheel and you will see all of the systems that you need for your business in a Venn diagram.
Love it.
Talking teacher talk. In a pie chart. Let me just say in a pie chart.
I love it. I love it. And I will drop the link inside the episode note as well, so that those of you who's listening will actually get a copy from the episode note as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So one last question before I let you go. I know you're a busy woman, and I am so glad that I got hold of you today because this is webinar is something that a lot of coaches, including myself, are looking forward to do and to have in the future. What would be your secret to fill up those webinar seats?
Once again, it's having a very clear title, and it's not. Don't try to be cute with the title. Think about what problem are you solving, and make sure the title is clear and attracts your audience, and then your description. If you go and take my webinar secrets training, there's a whole section on title and description, and that is key. That's how you fill up the seats. But also in your webinar, are you solving a problem?
Yeah.
Is it geared towards your target audience? Do you know who your ideal customer is? That's one of the biggest challenges. They try to make them too broad. I'd rather see many webinars on one topic for one set of audience versus a very generic webinar.
Yeah.
That's my tip.
I love that tip. I had to learn it the hard way because when I first came out as a coach, I kept my message really broad. I kept, my audience really big because I don't want to miss anybody. And
They're not your customer. It's not, you don't think you don't want to miss anybody. You want to get the ideal. The fewer people you have, the more rich their experience will be.
yeah, yeah, so beautiful. You are my lady. I admire you. Can I just follow you like everywhere? Where can I find you?
Just come on to Las Vegas. Everybody likes to. No, I'm online everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on all of those. Connect with me. Shout out. Give me a hi. Go ahead and follow all of our different resources because we're always dropping information. We do a weekly networking event on Tuesday mornings. So we do hot topics twice a month with System Summits, which are mini workshops on one topic. So there's a lots of ways to follow the information and the products and services that we do. Just connect with us at the Systems Summit group on Facebook, and or go to the website. You'll get there too.
I will drop all the links to find Victoria after the show, and you will be able to see it. You'll be able to stalk her. Hopefully, you are like me. You're going to stalk her. This is an amazing lady, and her webinar secret. I believe you actually have a resource on your website because I actually downloaded it myself.
I have resources everywhere. That I mean, that's a key. You need to give them a taste of what you do, and you do it through an opt-in page.
Yep. Couldn't say it more perfectly. Well, thank you so much, my lady. I know you have another meeting to go to, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I really appreciate you coming to the show today.
And thank you for having me. I have had a ball. You're so much fun. You make it easy to be on podcasts.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria. And I am going to put you onto the backstage so I can wrap up the show. Thank you so much for joining me today, ladies. Thank you for watching the show, or if you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Hopefully, you learned some valuable information from Victoria, who shared her webinar secret. So remember, break down your big chunk of information into bite size so that your audience can digest them as they go along. And make sure to follow her on her systemssummit.com to get more information about her upcoming event. And I will see you next week because I have another guest who lined up, who's going to come in and bring you values and share their tips and strategies on how they grow their business and how they grow their overall network. And so welcome, lady, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next week. Bye, everyone.